Right, so here I am at the pathology lab. Pathologist is going to draw some blood to have it tested. Now, what she's doing right now is actually rubbing a little swab of alcohol on my arm. Now, that makes the arm feel nice and cool as the alcohol evaporates. It takes the heat away from my skin, and so my body senses that loss of heat as coolness, as being cold. So the alcohol wasn't stored in the fridge or anything. It's just been in the room, so it's room temp, but it feels nice and cool. The alcohol was actually used to disinfect the skin before the needle goes in. So let's just wait for the needle. Where are you, needle? This was just this morning, by the way. I ducked out of school to have my blood tested. Here we go. So in with the needle into a vein. Doesn't go far in. And there we go. Now, here we come. There's the blood. Take a look at the color. It's red. It is most definitely red. And that's why I wanted to make this video. And I did check with the pathologist that it was okay that I made the video, and yep, all good. So blood is red. Now, unfortunately, it's quite a common misconception that deoxygenated blood is blue. It's not. Blood is always red, all the time. Oxygenated blood, if blood has a good amount of oxygen, and it's a nice bright red, but deoxygenated blood, once the oxygen has been delivered to your cells, it's a darker red, but it is still red. So what's going on with this? Well, the erythrocytes, which are your red blood cells, they contain something called hemoglobin. Now, this is composed of 4 heme subunits, and there's an iron atom in the middle. Now, it's actually this iron atom that the oxygen attaches to. And that interaction between the iron and the oxygen is what causes your blood to be red. Now, granted, your veins do look bluish when looking at them through your skin, but there's actually a number of factors for this. Firstly, it's to do with the physics of light and color. Okay, so different colors of light are due to different wavelengths of light. It's essentially all it comes down to, different wavelength, different color. Okay, so blue light has a certain wavelength of about 450 to 495 nanometers. Green light, the wavelength is a bit longer, and red light has an even longer wavelength. So whatever wavelength of light makes it to our eyes determines what color we actually see. So for instance, incident light from the sun hits an object, it's white, and it's composed of all colors, because white light is all the colors. But then the leaves of a tree look green because the red and the blue light actually got absorbed, but the green light didn't. So the green light got reflected, and it's only the green light that comes to our eyes. So we see the leaves as a nice green color. Now, when considering the blue look of our veins, we've got to realize that the blue and red light penetrate our body tissue, so our skin, to different degrees of success. Blue light doesn't penetrate human tissue as deeply as red light does. As a result of this, veins that are close to the surface, and the pathologist draws blood from a vein close to the surface, but they will be more likely to reflect blue light back to the eye. So we see blue veins. Also, deoxygenated blood actually tends to absorb red light more than blue light. So again, it's blue light that's more likely to be reflected to our eyes. It's also believed that blue light tends to scatter more easily when it passes through human tissue, and that also contributes to veins appearing blue, despite the dark red blood that's actually inside the veins. Another factor we could consider is that of optical illusions. Basically, our brains are pretty easy to deceive. When you look at something, your brain also takes in information from around the thing that you're actually looking at. So if the surroundings are pale, e.g. the skin of your arm, then the object you're looking at will appear darker, e.g. a dark blue vein. In fact, actually, nobility used to be called blue bloods because they weren't out working in the fields, so they didn't get tanned skin. So their veins looked more blue, this nice dark blue, compared to the working people that were out in the fields all day and had darker tanned skin. Anyway, as you can see, there are actually a number of factors that come into play to make our veins look bluish. And now this, of course, is not helped with biology textbooks worldwide, tending to have diagrams of the circulatory system, of the cardiovascular system, using red for oxygenated vessels and blue for deoxygenated vessels. All right. Now, this is not just in textbooks. This is all over the internet. Do a quick search of a cardiovascular system diagram, and you'll probably see red and blue. This is, of course, just meant to show the distinction between the veins and the arteries. It's not a true depiction of the color of the blood. Okay, so blood is always red. And when you think about it, have you seen blue blood in a movie? No, you haven't. All right, blood is always red. Okay. Now, this is actually assuming we're talking human blood, because the horseshoe crab actually has blue blood. There we go. So blue blood is a thing. But through this video, what I've really been talking about is human blood. Our blood is always red. If it's oxygenated, it's a nice bright red. If it's deoxygenated, it's a darker red, but always red. In the case of the horseshoe crab, it doesn't use hemoglobin to bind oxygen that our blood uses. Okay, it actually uses hemocyanin. Now, instead of iron in the hemocyanin, it actually has copper, and so copper gives the bluish tinge to the horseshoe crab's blood. So there you go, horseshoe crab, blue, grand. Our blood always red.